Great day, good people. I'm Aya here at Haji Healing Salon, and I'm here to share a little vinyasa yoga practice with you. So let's come down to the floor and set ourselves up in constructive rest pose. So I really love this pose. It's a great alternative to straight legs and whole body resting on the floor in shavasana, because if you don't have any props, if you're not able to bring a nice bend to your knees, sometimes there can be pain or challenge in the low back. So I find the constructive rest pose to be very restful and restorative. And the key to finding comfort in the pose, I think, is about determining the best distance for your feet away from your tail, right? So you just have to play around with that. But the feet should be out as wide as the mat. I always suggest pinky toes hanging off. And then, when you found the proper distance of the feet away from the tail, or maybe to help you find it, you just draw the knees toward each other. And if they're able to come together easily to touch, then your feet are in a good place. If there's any pain or strain, or the knees don't want to come together, you might have to play around with the positioning of the feet. Once you find it though, you should notice an internal rotation for the thighs and a broadening in the low back that should feel really nice. You can bring one hand to heart and one hand to belly. If you're new to constructive rest pose, or it just doesn't feel good to you, you don't like it, of course, take an alternative shape that feels restful to you. And just begin now to bring awareness to the breath, noting how the body is already being breathed. Just be present with the natural, easy, and free breath. Notice its qualities. Notice the length and depth of each part of the breath. Notice the experience of the body being breathed, the belly rising and falling. Just feel how the hands are moving as they rest on the body. Just practicing mindfulness here, so you are in observation mode. And you might continue allowing the breath to be natural, easy, and free, and shift awareness into the physical body. Be present with any sensation you might be feeling in the body. Note what parts of the body may be calling out to you, sensation being a form of communication. Are there any parts of your body that would benefit from a little more care, love, nurturance today in your practice? When you feel you have a sense of the physical body, let's take hold of the breath, inviting a full, deep breath in through the nose that fills you up from the inside out. Feel your body expand against the floor and hold that breath in, feeling its power, feeling yourself full. And open the mouth to audibly exhale and clear everything out. And then pause, noting how it feels to be empty. When you're ready, allow the breath to flow back in through the nostrils and fill you up. Hold that fullness. And open the mouth to audibly exhale, letting go without fear. Be empty. And be filled. Hold the fullness. And let it all go. Now you'll close the lips without clenching the teeth and begin to cultivate Ujjayi, the victory breath. Begin breathing in and out through the nose while slightly contracting the muscles in the back of the throat to narrow the airway, and begin making a raspy whispering sound that can be heard with both your inhale and exhale. Ujjayi becoming an additional focal point for you in the practice. As you continue cultivating a calm, smooth, and steady deep breath, call to mind your own personal and powerful intention for practice today. Crystallize it in the eye of your mind and speak it down into your heart, maybe laying 2 hands over the heart space. Take a moment to visualize yourself with this intention fully realized. If you're not a visual person, you might be able to just perceive the feeling. What will you feel like when what you are holding in your heart now is made manifest in the world? Take a deeper breath. Exhale and clear. And as you feel ready, heel toe your feet closer together, opening the eyes. Draw the knees into the chest. Feel the lengthening of the back and take the hands to the knees or the shins and rock gently right and left, slow and mindful here. Just bringing life back into the body. And then when you feel ready, take the 2 feet down to the floor. Bring the 2 arms down as well. Long arms at your sides, hugged in close, palms flat. Walk the heels back as close to your tail as you can bring them. Maybe you can feel a connection between the heels and the fingertips somehow, and ground down. Push into the feet, and when you breathe in, send the pelvis up toward the ceiling. Any amount of lift being a beautiful thing. We're very early in the practice, so don't have, too high an expectation here. Exhale, release the tail down. Push into the feet again. Push them down and toward the back edge of your mat as you float the pelvis up. Feel the chest rise toward the chin. And slow release. Gentle, mindful, letting go. Again, push into the feet. Let the inhale carry the body up and away from the earth. Keep control in the legs. Knees neither sickling in nor splaying out, but staying right over heels. And when you exhale, gentle, mindful release. Good. Let's rest here a moment. Maybe the feet can stay where they are and knees can come together. Soften through the arms and the shoulders and breathe in. An audible exhale will feel good here, so just clear out. Let's reset. So again, the feet are parallel with one another. Knees are floating over heels, especially as we inhale and lift the pelvis. This time connecting the arms in. Float the arms high, long arms overhead, backs of hands to floor. Keep pushing the feet down and toward the back edge of your mat, but then exhale to bring arms down and pelvis down almost simultaneously. And again, push into your feet, float the 2 arms up and overhead. Feel all this expansion you're inviting into the body. And when you exhale, a gentle lowering down, synchronizing breath and movement. Good. Last time, push into the feet. Notice what you feel and where you feel it. Maybe you feel glutes coming alive here, fingertips reaching beyond, and then exhale to lower with control. No rush. Ashe. Okay, from here, pull the knees into the chest again. Take the hands behind the thighs and rock gently right and left. And then lift your head and lift your shoulder blades away from the floor, around your body, tucking the chin down, move the forehead toward the knees. Notice from where you are lifting and avoid craning too much through the neck. See if you can lift really from your abdominals, from your core. And then start to bring a sense of play into the practice, okay? So you're gonna lift your feet up to rock back and pull your feet down to come forward. And you're not rolling onto your neck at all. You're keeping your back round and your head is a little lifted the whole time. So you're not rolling back on your neck, but you are rolling on the spine And every time you lift up, see about pushing your feet down, widening your knees, and reaching your arms through your legs, right? So it's this rock back, a push down, and a reach through that rocks your weight forward eventually. Push feet down, rock forward, reach through. And you want to start gathering a little momentum to help you out so that you can eventually come up into a little toe squat situation with hands together in prayer. So with the toe squat, the tail is resting on the heels and the thighs are parallel with the floor. Then we draw the navel in, lift the crown up, and keep the heart open. Strong squeeze of legs for balance. Breath deepening all the time. Strong focus, right? Rest the eyes to one spot that isn't moving. And then we'll exhale and take the hands to the floor in front of us. So see about pushing into fingertips, lifting hips up a little bit so that you just have a little more space to step this left foot forward and extend the right knee back, lowering it down to the floor. So ground here, put the top of the foot to the floor and think about lunging and exploring your hips and hamstrings with a forward and back motion here. Every time you breathe in, your heart is lifted, your knee is bent, your hips are low. You're feeling a stretch in the front of the right hip, and every time you exhale, your inner thighs squeeze toward each other. Front leg lengthens, but spine stays long over leg. Toes flip up if that feels available, and the stretch is all here in the back of that left leg. So see what feels like medicine for you today, what's available for you, and practice being okay with whatever that is, right? That is skillful. Acceptance is skillful. So push down the foot, maybe pull the heel back a bit so it aligns right under the knee, and keep the right hip over the right knee. 2 right angles ideally support us as we rise up, right? That stack of joints, so helpful for keeping the balance. Press the palms together. See about keeping that balance even as you roll your head back and look up, getting a new perspective. Then tuck your chin, align your arms and your biceps, hold the right wrist in the left hand, and lengthen right side body. When you exhale, you'll move into a lateral stretch, moving toward the bent knee, right? So moving over to the left. Then let's pull the navel in and inhale to come back to center. Exhale, flex at the wrists, wide open palms, long arms. Inhaling here. As you exhale, start to revolve, keeping these strong, straight arms. Move from the midsection. Aha. You can gaze to the horizon or look back toward the left thumb. Breathing in. Exhale, see about maybe lunging. You could wiggle these front toes more forward to take a deeper lunge. As you float the left hand to the back of the right thigh, you're reaching up and looking back toward the foot. Then a little cartwheeling of the hands. So right hand coming down, left arm lifting up and reaching forward before landing to the floor. Frame the front foot. Breathe in as you lift your heart and lunge a little deeper forward. Exhale, pull your hips back, straighten the front leg, flip up the toes. So you can be here. See about taking the rounding out of your back. Is it helpful to walk the hands back or to send the heel forward? Can you lift the shoulder girdle up? Send the sternum energetically toward the toes. Pull left hip back, right hip forward. Energy in these upper inner thighs. Let's bend the knee. Let's pull the heel back and prepare to step forward, tucking back toes, lift the knee, and bring yourself up. Let's sit in the toe squat. So just see about it. Hands together at the heart. Breathing in with that single point of attention, right? Eyes focused, navel drawn in, crown reaching up, feeling light and buoyant here, yeah? Finding that quality. Fingertips to the floor, lift the tail. It's the right foot stepping forward now, left leg moving back and down, ground. Start to explore the depth of lunge that's available for you on this side. Curious and interested in what you feel and where you feel it. This yoga thing, it's an information gathering practice. It's meant to help us better know ourselves, right? So then the next time your knee is in flexion, see about really building that alignment that supports you and balancing as you reach your arms up. Inhale. Find a little tuck for the tail. As you exhale, the hands can come together, the head can roll back. There's a way to sit deeper in this lunge and make this a back bend as well, but that's not the focus here. Tuck the chin. Let's hold the left wrist in the right hand and lengthen, and find the exhale moving us over to the right into the lateral stretch, where you can really feel the skin all over the front of the hip moving, stretching, opening. Think about the fascia too. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, keep grounding down the sole of the foot. Keep the knee over the ankle as you flex at the wrists, open the palms, lengthen the arms, and breathe in. Exhale, take the twist. We're revolving, trying to keep the hips good and square. Lots of integrity in lower body, even as change is happening in upper body, right? It might feel different on this side, so just honor, if it looks different, feels different, that's okay. Looking back maybe to the thumb, maybe not, but eventually, if you went for it on the other side, wiggling toes forward, sitting deeper, hand coming to thigh for support, lifting up, reaching back, looking back with all gratitude. Okay, grateful for all that has been. Exhale, we get to sort of catapult ourselves forward, one hand at a time coming down. Fingertips to the floor. Blocks are so helpful here. If you have blocks at home, this is a great time to bring them in, or really at the start of this sequence would have been a great time to bring them in. I forgot to use my blocks, but lengthen the front leg out. Oh. Square off the hips. Lengthen the front leg. Maybe sending that heel forward before flipping the toes up. Drop right hip down and squeeze together in the center. And then lengthen the spine. Lift the shoulder girdle. Gaze just beyond the toes. You're doing awesome. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, bring the foot down, hug the heel back. And let's bring the right knee back and down. So we're coming to all fours here and planting the palms. Let's shift the pelvis forward so that we are in a half plank position with elbows hugging in, whole body long. So not letting the pelvis kind of sink down, right? But maintaining some lift here and a firm belly. Bend the elbows, lower down with control. Let's come all the way down to the floor and root down the pelvis and the heavy legs and the tops of the feet here, squeezing together. See how much when you inhale, you can lift the shoulder girdle and the rib cage off the floor without the hands. Pin those elbows back, shine the heart forward, tuck your chin, gaze ahead. Exhale, release down. Invite a little tuck of chin to rest the forehead and soften for a breath, breathing in and breathing out. Push into the hands. They're right under the shoulders. These elbows are lifted into the air and they are squeezing in toward the midline. Squeeze the legs, point the feet, press down into hands and lower body, and lift heart, lift head. Lift everything above the navel center off the floor, but keep rooted down through the pelvis. Drop your shoulders, cobra pose, releasing. Find your way to earth. Tuck your chin. Rest the forehead. Soften the glutes. Let the heels open up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring everything back together. Really squeezing the legs, grounding the feet, the knees, the thighs, the pelvis, rolling the shoulders back, pushing into the palms strongly now to even start lifting the whole body off the floor. Straighten the arms, float the pelvis and the knees off the floor. Roll the shoulders back in space and keep the heart high. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, big breath in. As you exhale, you can transition from bring knees down, tuck toes under, lift hips up and back, or you can lift the hips, roll over the toes to find your way into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathing in and breathing out. Another inhale, another exhale. One more big breath in. One more full breath out. Looking up between the hands, taking a series of small steps that bring the feet up. At the top of the mat, squeeze the legs together, bend deeply into the knees, raise the floor with the fingertips and float the arm bones up and back by the ears for chair pose, Utkatasana. Sit a little deeper. Tuck tail, lift hard as you breathe in. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Ground down to rise up, inhaling, lift your arms, bend your elbows, open up the whole front body here if that's available. And floating arms up, inhale. As you exhale, bring the arms down at the sides. So let's move through Surya Namaskar A with Utkatasana, bookending the sequence. Deep bend the knees, raise the floor with the fingertips. Inhale, arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, take a full forward fold, Uttanasana, head heavy, let it go. Inhaling, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back, shoulders at the height of the hips. Exhaling, bend the knees, plant the palms, step back one leg at a time, plank pose, Palakasana, inhale. Exhale, take the knees to the floor, hover the elbows or hover the pelvis, squeeze the elbows in, send shoulder heads forward, come down. See about hovering the body, right? If that's in your practice, you can do that and choose the back bend. Is it going to be cobra or full up dog? Make sure you have distinctions between the two. And exhaling, pick your hips up. Roll over the feet, press the heels down. Take a big breath in through the nose. And a full breath out through the mouth. So I love using transitions to strengthen. We're going to practice that now, squeezing the legs together at the back of the mat. You're in down dog with your feet touching. Inhale, right heel high. As you exhale, see about bringing the knee into a deep bend and drawing this thigh up to the chest as though it were magnetized there. Now rounding the back, push forward, lifting your head, look ahead, send your shoulders over your wrists and kick this right foot up between the hands. Land it where it needs to go, wiggle the toes forward to get it a little more into place as needed. Sit the hips down low and step forward. Ashe. 2 feet together at the front of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, full Uttanasana. Inhale, rise through Utkatasana, bending the knees, reaching the arms up. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Inhale, rise. Exhale, expand. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bring them down. Okay, same thing, same way, deep bend. Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale, full forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Palakasana, one leg at a time, leading you into this shape, strengthening as you hold. Inhale. Exhale, knees to the floor. Hug elbows in, bring whole body down with integrity. Hover, maybe if that's in your practice, above the mat and inhale into the back bend of your choice. Baby cobra, full cobra, or up dog. Options that you have. Exhale, hips up and back, make your way to down dog. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth. Ashe. As you feel ready, floating up the left heel now. Bring it high, up behind you. Keep the toes pointing down. Keep all that down dog integrity, right? Even in here with the lifted leg. Pull the knee in and up to the chest. Remember to round your back and push off on the back toes. Hovering and holding and then stepping down. And maybe giving the toes a wiggle as needed. But coming all the way up to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, new fold, new depth, right? Every time. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana, float the arm bones up and back. Exhale, sit a little deeper. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, open and expand. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms down. Very good. Last time, preparing for Utkatasana, bend the knees. Uttanasana, exhale. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Exhaling, Palakasana, step back and hover, inhale. Exhale, knees to the floor if you need to continue with that. Otherwise, knees staying lifted. What about that? For full chaturanga, bend elbows lower down with control, hover. Inhale on tops of feet. Lift yourself up, look up. Exhale, pick the hips up. Rolling over those toes if that is your practice. Grounding the heels either way. If you're newer to down dog, sometimes really helpful to keep a little bend in the knees until you can figure out how to lengthen the spine, right? One more deep breath. You're doing fantastically well. All right, good people, let's squeeze the legs together. And this time, lift the heels, bend the knees, look up between the hands, and prepare to launch yourself forward with one big hop. Landing the feet up, bring the palms to the shins, flatten the back, Ardha Uttanasana. Ashe, exhale, full forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling last time, deep bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhaling, we sit a little deeper. And with the inhale, we rise. Oh, expanding. Palms together overhead, hands coming down to the heart. Breathe in. And breathe out. Ah. All right, good job, good people. Let's stand near the front of the mat now and practice balancing with tree pose. So you can keep the hands together at the heart, ground down firm into this right foot and bend the left knee. Then swivel out to the left and lay the arch of the left foot over the ankle of the right ankle. So toes are in flexion, ball of foot is on the floor. You're tucking the tail, pulling the navel in, reaching the crown up, fixing the gaze, maybe to the earth for the most grounding. And determining if you like to stay here, noting all the micro movements, right, that are still required just to keep the balance, or if you want to really come onto this, into a one foot situation, sliding that foot up to the calf muscle or a place between the ankle and knee, adjusting the rest of the body and working here. Or if you feel good about things, you're practiced in tree pose, maybe you hold the ankle, guide the heel to the upper inner thigh, pressing thigh and foot together equally. If you like, you can spread your limbs here. You're also welcome to take any different arm variation that interests you. Enjoying a moment to be playful if you're able to hold and keep the balance. And coming back to center, preparing to let go, hug this knee back into the midline and send the foot down. And reset, arms at the sides. Really good job. Same thing, other foot, so ground down to left foot, bend right knee, swivel out to the right. Take the arch of the foot over the ankle at first. This is our entryway of the pose. And you're practicing, you're in the balance, it's all good. Right? Maybe this is your medicine today. And really, you don't always have to exactly match the experience you had on the other side. Sometimes what happened on one side is actually not available on the other, and we learn that that can be okay too. So hand to ankle if you need, and assist in getting the foot to upper inner thigh. And then you still got to point the tailbone down, pull the belly up, and lift the crown high, hands together. A lot of energy there in the hands at the heart. Rooting down, right? Connecting through your connection to Mother Gaia. Affirming the support that you always have in the earth. You also always have support from on high, so feeling that golden thread like an energetic appendage that extends up from the crown, just like the roots that reach down into the earth through the sole of the foot. And if you want to spread your limbs here, feels really good to be this open. And maybe you challenge your balance by lifting your gaze. And when you're ready to come back, oh, and then also we played with the arms on the other side, right? So welcoming that if it feels available. And sometimes it's like you're gonna lose it, but you bring it all back together. Just slowing down the breath. That right knee comes to center, foot lands down to floor, and we release. Good, let that go, shake it out. Ah, you're doing fantastically well. Okay, I just have a little standing sequence for you. Let's go right into it here, standing near the top of the mat, hands together at the heart, bend both the knees a little bit. Root down firmly, like really tamp left foot down, send right foot to back edge of mat with heel high. Bring a bend into that front knee by lowering the hips. Yeah, land the knee over the ankle, float the arms up overhead, inhaling. As you exhale, take the right wrist in the left hand. Lengthen as you breathe in, and exhale over toward the bent knee, any amount, bringing that lateral stretch back in that we already did with the knee down, right? Now we have the knee up, inhale, come back to center, exhale, flex at the wrists. Take your long arms out at the height of the shoulders. Breathe in, good people. As you exhale, revolve your chest. So keep all integrity in lower body, but float arms around. Reach, breathe. See if you can sit a little deeper in the lunge, but don't overdo it. Left hand to back of right thigh, right arm reaching up, we look back. And when we exhale, one hand comes down at a time, like a little cartwheel. I'm going super slow motion, and that does make it a little harder, but you're building so much endurance, and it's such a good thing to push into the fingertips and start lengthening the front leg. Oh, and your back heel can stay high, but maybe you bring a little bend to that knee behind so that you can shift your weight and pull up your front toes. And then you'll ground your front toes, bend your front knee, and push off of the back toes to lift your heel at the height of the hip. Whoop, and there went my head. Bend your front knee, lower your toes, shift your weight back. Yeah? So you're kind of squeezing up or inner thighs. Hands can be to the floor or on the blocks. The blocks will definitely elevate you and help you out here. But it's a shift back, right? And then a launch forward and off. So you put down the front toes, bend in the front knee, lift the back heel, and then lift your heart. Let's try it one more time. Land the back toes, shift the weight, and push forward, launch off, and take the hands to heart. And keep pushing out through right heel, toes turning down, extend forward through the crown. You could play with the arms here too, if you want. Then let's put the foot down, slow, steady. Land it down. And you can bring your hands to the floor and step back into downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. If you want a vinyasa here, you're welcome to push forward into plank, to lower down through chaturanga, to inhale up into up dog or the cobra of your choice, and exhale back into down dog. Now we're stepping all the way up to the front of the mat, or we might be hopping as well. Do what feels good for you. Inhale in a flat back position. Exhale, take a new depth of fold here. Maybe hands coming together in prayer behind the legs. And when you're ready to rise, spread the arms out wide. Inhale, reach up and overhead. Exhale, take the hands down to the heart. Very good. Let's bend both the knees a little bit. Ground down. We're really tamping into the right foot now, sending the left foot to the back edge of the mat. Beginning to bring that, first of all, we need a really long stance. So a lot of space between the legs, then a deep bend into that front knee as arms float up and overhead. Inhale. Exhale, hold the left wrist in the right hand and lengthen and arc over toward the bent knee. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, send the arms out wide. Flex at the wrists. Good. Inhale here, just energizing yourself. Exhale with a soft belly, revolve. Keep squeezing upper inner thighs. Reach back, look back maybe if that's available, or just gazing to horizon before right hand comes to left thigh and left arm reaches skyward. And we look over the back shoulder toward the foot, toward the knee. Then with the exhale, it's a cartwheeling of the hands. Full revolution, right? For that arm in the shoulder socket. You might come onto the blocks, push down. You might shorten your stance, lengthening front leg. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to shorten the stance even more. So I'm pulling this right heel back. I've lifted up the toes. And now as the foot flattens, the knee bends. There's a connection between rib cage and thigh, which I find helpful. And when I shift forward, the shoulders are going to be over the wrists, and that's going to support me too. So pushing off on back foot, lifting the heel, and then straightening the leg, the front knee that was bent, right? Shoulders over wrists, toes turned down. Then the bend, the landing of the back foot, the shifting of the weight, this kind of reach of arms, because we're going to propel ourselves forward and find the balance through the hands. Lift up. It's so fun. See if you can make it happen in like one fell swoop, right? You're pulled back. It's like getting ready to shoot a slingshot or something. You're pulled back here, and then you're grounded, and you're lifted off. And then hands can come to heart, or arms can stretch out, or arms can reach overhead, or arms can clasp behind the back. The hands can stay right where they are. Maybe lifting to a higher height is helpful for you with the blocks. But are your back toes turned down? Are your left toes turned down? Are your hips squared? Are you connected through your core? Does your heart feel light? Feel for those qualities. And then slowly land the foot down. And gently, with hands on blocks or hands to floor, step back. Downward facing dog. You can walk your dog if that feels like the medicine. You can breathe full and deep. You can come down to all fours and take some cat-cows or rest in crocodile, child's pose. All right, as you feel ready, bending the knees, lowering down for Vajrasana, lightning bolt pose. Landing the tail down on the heels and resting the palms over the thighs. Tuck the tail, pull the belly in, float the heart and the head high. Breathing. Of course, if you need support here, just widening the feet and the knees apart a bit, bringing a block for you to rest your tail on. That'll take some of the pressure off. So blankets work well for that. Also pillows, cushions of all kinds. But we're here to observe. And we're here to slow down the momentum of the breath. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Okay, now you'll bring your right hand off to the right, so much away from your mat that you have to kind of lean over, and drop the right hip down. And then separate the 2 legs so the sole of the right foot comes to rest over the inside of the left thigh. Yeah, so it'll look like this. And you're a little asymmetrical. You'll notice that in the hips, that you feel more rooted through the left hip Right hip is kind of lifted off the floor. And that's okay. That works for us in this pose. Vajrasana is where we're headed. So it's a twist. And I really enjoy it. I feel it's very beautiful. It looks very stately and majestic. So we're here, rooted down through the through the right hip. Right knee is deeply bent. Right foot is resting on or connected to left thigh. And then maybe you can get all 5 of the toes, left toes, to rest to the floor. And let's take the left arm and reach it around so that the back of the hand connects to the right knee. And already it looks beautiful, regal, right? And you feel this hip wanting to lift up a little more. Let it. And see about swinging the right fingers back behind you, landing them to the floor. And lift the heart as you breathe in. When you exhale, turn your head and gaze over the front shoulder. And see if you can gaze back to the left knee. Breathing as you're here. Fingers grounded behind you, or another option is to bend the arm behind the back and see if you can hold the hip, the inside of the thigh here. And there's a variation of this where this front leg is in a half lotus, and in that case you would bind the toe. And notice how it feels to breathe here. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. It's like being wrung out. And then a slow and mindful release. So you're unwinding in the upper body, coming back toward the center. The hands can support you as you draw them down. Lift yourself up and draw these knees back together. Let's sit again in Vajrasana, the lightning bolt pose, and breathe. Now you'll extend the left arm out to the side, ground down, lean over, take that left hip to the floor and separate the feet and the knees. Sole of left foot coming to rest against inner right thigh. All 5 of the right toes are on the floor behind you, and you have a sense of feeling more rested and rooted in this left hip. So keep that. Float up the arm with a breath in. Exhale. Take this right arm across. Land the back of the hand against the knee. Swing the left fingers behind you. Ground them to the floor. Push down to lift up the heart, and you'll feel also this hip lifting more off the floor. Allow that as you breathe in. When you exhale, turn your head, bring your chin over your shoulder, and gaze back toward the knee, toward the foot. 3 deep breaths here. If you took the variation where the elbow bends behind you and the hand hooks around, you can also just grab your clothing, anywhere you can find your shirt, if you want to be there. 1 more inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Let's slowly and mindfully unwind. We never want to just pop out of these poses, right? So I always want to leave enough energy to exit mindfully. Come back to center. Put your hands down to lift your body up and come back to center. Resting tail on heels or on block in Vajrasana. Breathe in. Breathe out. 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. All right, now let's lay the hip to the floor. Either hip, doesn't matter. And you'll come onto your back. 1 more time on your back with now your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, arms in at the sides. You'll set up again for bridge pose, walking your feet back until you can feel that connection between feet and fingertips. Having a sense already of buoyancy in the hips, right? No problem getting them off the floor. Grounding down through the feet. Through the arms, the shoulder blades, the skull. Inhale, lift the pelvis up. Stay here and exhale. So you haven't lifted into your full extension yet, but this next inhale will do it. So breathing in, lift a little higher. As you exhale, rock a little bit right and left so that you come one at a time onto a shoulder head, rolling them in and in underneath you to get your fingertips to rest inside the heels now. Once that happens, push into elbows, bend, and clasp hands. Lengthen arms down and lift back body up. Push feet down and toward the back edge of the mat while keeping the skull grounded, the chin tucked, the heart high, the breath deep. Enjoying the medicine here that comes with bridge pose. If you'd like, you can always make this a restorative bridge where you bring the block in and rest it under your tail. Maybe holding the block or clasping the hands around it in some cases is possible. But even in the supported bridge pose, helpful to keep pushing the feet down, keeping the legs somewhat active. And then let's release slowly, mindfully, unclasping the hands, sliding the shoulder blades apart, lowering down. It'll feel like it's coming down one vertebrae at a time, but gently reconnecting spine to earth. And coming into constructive rest pose. Bringing one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Allowing a moment of pause in your practice. Observe. Know what you feel and where you feel it. See if you can get a sense here of what the body needs or what it might be asking for. And when you're ready, you can move into any shape that feels that you're feeling called into. I'm really a fan of honoring, your own agency in a practice and spreading those arms wide here like goalposts or cacti. And thinking about releasing two knees over on the right side. So just a slow, mindful descent toward the earth. Once you get there, have a breath in. Now exhale, soften any resistance. Inhale. And exhale, soften any resistance. One more big breath. Inhale, lift the knees, flatten the feet to the floor. And exhale over on the left side. It's a good time for audible exhales. Just scanning the body to note where you may be gripping unnecessarily and choosing to soften instead. And after those 4 deep breaths in the shape, we'll inhale the knees back up to center. And exhale, happy baby if you like it, pulling knees in and up toward the armpits, taking hands to hold outer feet. We send the feet up toward the ceiling while drawing the knees down toward the body. Whole back body feels broadened, hips wide. We rock right and left. If you feel any tension in your face that you're wanting to let go of, you can thoroughly lick your lips and then just loosen the lips and blow your breath out over them. Now you're really in baby mode, right? And then letting go, prepare to rest the body. You have so many ways you might rest, right? You're welcome to come back and explore the benefits of constructive rest pose so you end as you began. If you have some props nearby and you want to roll something in under your knees, you can stretch the legs out long. Maybe you have a pillow for your head as well, a blanket you can cover yourself with. If you're close to a wall, you might scoot your hips up and swing straight legs up the wall and sort of rest that way. You can lie on your side or your belly, or you can sit upright and choose meditation to end your practice. Whatever you do, it is highly recommended that you allow yourself some time for rest and integration. You give the body space to release anything that may have come up through the practice. To empty out. In Shavasana, we become nothing. And at the end of Shavasana, we return to life, ready to begin again. So never cheat yourself of the opportunity to be still at the end of a practice, to be receptive, to be curious and interested in all that is available. It's about the interior world. There's so much available on the inside.